The IRS isn't waiting on you. Well, what's really happening when you ignore your tax situation? Hey friends, welcome back. If you're new here, this channel is all about helping regular people navigate the IRS, get out of tax debt, and finally reset financial life without the shame, confusion, and overwhelm that usually comes with it. In this video, we're talking about money and a financial freedom in a way that feels practical, empowering, and judgment-free. I'm your host, Lloydetta Bryant, enrolled agent and founder of Ethical Tax and Business Services, and my mission is simple. I educate Black women in the health and wellness space on the importance of being proactive with their finances one step at a time. Now, listen, whether you're behind on taxes, scared to open the IRS mail, or just trying to figure out what's going on in the system, you're in the right place. And we're going to talk about the real reason people avoid taxes. So, people avoid taxes for one simple reason: human nature combined with a complex system. What does that mean? Did you know that the pain of losing a dollar is actually twice as intense as the joy of earning an extra one? This is a well studied quirk in the field of behavior economics known as loss aversion. So, this is the nerd side of me coming out there because I kind of love reading and I kind of love digging deeper. And I'm not kind of a surface level girl. I like to go deeper and get a better understanding of why things are and why things work the way that they do. But what that simply means is our minds are naturally geared to feel the sting of a loss much more deeply than the most positive impact of an equal gain. Because of this, we naturally perceive giving money to the government as a painful out of pocket loss rather than an investment in the society, right? So when you combine this instinctual human nature with an incredibly complex system, it creates a perfect storm for avoidance, driven by fear and intense overwhelm. We listen to that little voice that tells us to deal with it later when we have more time, causing us to ignore the situation while it continues to develop in the background. Most people aren't ignoring taxes because they don't care. They're ignoring it because of fear, overwhelm, and that little voice that's saying, I have more time, I'll deal with it later. And later typically never comes. And I get it, I really do. The tax code isn't intentionally complicated just to make you mad, angry, or feel like they're coming after you specifically. Governments use tax rules to steer the economy by rewarding people for doing things the state wants, like building businesses or hiring workers or putting money into the solar energy, right? Sometimes we figure maybe we could get a choice of what we put our money into, but I mean, who isn't for helping the economy, right? Especially our local and state government. Because taxes are one of those things that don't feel urgent until they suddenly feel very urgent. It's kind of like ignoring the sound your car makes, and it's a weird one, and you hear it, but it's just like, okay, you know what? I'll just turn the music up, and then 2 weeks later, the car is making a new sound on top of the one that was weird, and it's like trying to communicate in Morse code. And now you're praying every time you start the car, or even talking to it, like, come on, girl, let's go. Do you talk to your car? I talk to my car. Do you name your car? Because I name my car. Anyway, taxes work the same way. Avoidance doesn't pause the system, it just lets the system keep moving without you. And that's the part most people don't realize. So let's talk about what's actually going on in the background when taxes aren't filed or IRS issues are ignored. Because it's not nothing, it's actually a whole process. And the first thing that can happen is the IRS can file a return for you on your behalf. Yes, they can literally create a version of the tax return without your input. And I need you to hit this part clearly. That version is almost never in your favor. Why? Because it doesn't include your deductions, it doesn't include your credits, it doesn't include your story, your full picture. It's basically the IRS saying, we didn't hear from you, so we'll just estimate for you. And while you're waiting and wondering what's happening in the background, this is what's going on. And that estimate often leads to a higher balance than necessary. Now, to add on top of that, you have penalties for not filing or paying on time. You have interest on top of the penalties and a monthly accumulation that doesn't just stop because life got busy. So while you're avoiding, it's quietly growing, not dramatically, not loudly, but consistently. Like a subscription you forgot to cancel, but this one changes and you're emotionally and financially charged. Now, let me say something I see all the time. Most people don't come panicking about taxes. They don't come with just this complete overwhelmed at first. They come more exhausted than anything because the real weight isn't the IRS balance, it's the mental load of not knowing what's going on, not knowing how bad it really is, not knowing what that letter meant, not knowing what they've missed, what's fixable, what's not. That uncertainty will drain you faster than the actual tax problems most of the time. In fact, most likely all of the time. And this is where I pause and remind people of something very important. God does not call us to operate in confusion. He does not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Confusion is heavy, clarity brings peace. And the first steps toward peace in this situation is not solving everything all at once. It's simply knowing your truth of the situation. Here's what you actually need first. Before strategy, before payment plans, before resolution conversations, you need clarity. Specifically, you need to understand what the IRS transcript is showing you, what it means, what it says, and what you need to do. Because your assumptions about your tax situation are usually worse than the reality, or sometimes not as bad as you think. But either way, you don't know until you look. And I want to be really clear. Guessing is not a strategy. Avoiding is not a strategy. Hoping it goes away is definitely not a strategy. Clarity is the strategy. So now let me show you how I walk clients through this process. At Ethical Tax and Business Services, I use what is called an ETBS clarity framework, and it's 5 simple steps. Step 1 of that process is discover. Simply just discover. And here we figure out exactly what your IRS situation looks like, and we're not guessing here. Step 2 is decode. We translate the IRS transcripts and notices into plain English so that you can understand what they're saying. Step 3, we develop. We create a strategy based on your specific real situation. No fear, no assumptions. Step 4, defend. We communicate with the IRS and implement the plan on your behalf. 5, thrive. We build habits so you don't end up back in the same place again, because it matters as knowing why we're here, what we need to do to get out of here, and not to end up here again. That's it. No confusion, no overwhelm. No, I don't know what's happening. Just a clear process from chaos to clarity. So if you're watching this video and you're thinking, okay, I might need to look into this. Good, because that's awareness and that's the starting point. Here's what I want you to do next. Don't try to fix everything today. Don't spiral. Don't go Googling yourself into anxiety. Start with clarity. Remember, clarity is where the beginning is. You can do this by downloading a free resource I created just for you. It's called the Money Reset Checklist. It's designed specifically to help you organize your information, gather the right documents, and begin taking action without feeling overwhelmed or anxious. Think of it as your roadmap for moving in the right direction. While we're on the topic of free resources, another tool, and one of my favorite, is the Tax Relief Quiz. This is a free quiz that you can complete in less than just a few minutes, and it helps you to identify your money management style. It'll help also uncover any of the financial habits that may be contributing to your current situation. If you're listening or watching this video and you know you're ready for a more personalized guidance, schedule a free tax relief discovery call. This is a free call where you and I get to discuss what your challenges are, what it is that you're facing, and what your next best step may be. You'll find all 3 links in the description below. It's quick and it's simple, and it helps you to understand where you actually are. Because once you know your situation, you can move differently. And if it turns out you need help, then we can talk about strategy. And for those of you who are really ready to go deeper, who are serious about getting out of debt and becoming financial free, I've created a resource called How to Break Free from Tax Debt Without Going Broke. This guide walks you through the process of understanding your tax situation completely, evaluating what options are available to you, and creating a realistic plan to move forward with confidence. You'll find again all of those links in the description below. Let me leave you with this. Financial stewardship is not about perfection. It's about awareness. It's about responsibility. It's about taking the next right step, even when you don't have the full picture. So wherever you are right now, behind on taxes, unsure, overwhelmed, or just curious, don't worry. You don't have to figure it out all alone. You have the right as a taxpayer to have what those rights are, to know what those rights are, and to be represented if you need them. We'll help you exercise those rights. Thank you for spending time with me today. And remember, you're not your tax problem. You're not your past mistakes, and you're certainly not beyond a solution. Until next time, remember the financial freedom starts with taking one proactive step at a time. This is Lloydetta Bryant reminding you that there's always a solution beyond tax.